Pleased to welcome Raquel Dancho, MP for Kildonan St. Paul, to the program this morning. Hi, Raquel. How are you?
Hi, Kathy. I'm doing very well.
Thank you for taking the time on this Monday morning. Are you happy with the results today that Erin O'Toole is your new leader?
Absolutely, Kathy. I'm ecstatic. I endorsed Erin O'Toole about 2 months ago and joined his campaign team, and it was really my first leadership race as a new member of Parliament, and I'm just so unbelievably excited for Erin, for his team, and frankly for the country. I think Erin will be a fantastic Prime Minister, and I'm just so excited to get to work to get him there.
All right, so what makes him a good leader?
Well, I find very much this was an interesting leadership race. We had a whole slate of different personalities, different visions, but Erin really presented himself, I think, as a uniter, the consensus builder. And he was able to, he's a fairly moderate conservative, but he was really able to bring into the fold social conservatives, get a lot of their support. He also had more millennial members of Parliament, conservative supporters than any other candidate. So really a really good mix of the entire party is reflected in Erin's support base. I think that's exactly what we need. We need to unite in order to defeat the Liberals and the Justin Trudeau in the next election. And he's united our party, and I believe we're ready to go. So it's quite exciting.
Well, do you think the party is united? Because, why I ask this is I remember sitting down in February with Peter MacKay and saying, you have a fractured party going into this race. Will it become even more fractured after the race? And he had to agree that there was some work to do.
No, not at all. I think if we listen to Erin's speech, it's actually on my Facebook page if anybody wants to check it out. His speech has been widely regarded by the media across Canada for being a consensus builder speech. He really made a point to reach out and say everyone is welcome. That was really the crux of his speech, was how he wanted to unite us all, respect all factors of our party, and is ready to get to work on that. And beyond that, Kathy, he's looking to broaden our base. That was a main part of his message that, frankly, we didn't really hear with Andrew Scheer as the leader. Like, really, the focus of Erin's speech was about uniting all conservatives and growing our conservative support base, which is so exciting as a new MP to hear that.
So he is the first Eastern Conservative Party leader in quite some time. How is he going to bring in the West?
Well, actually, out of all the candidates, he got the most support in Alberta. He did very well in Saskatchewan and very well in Manitoba. And in fact, he did really well in Quebec as well. So again, his support across the country from BC to Quebec was fantastic. And I think, again, his speech about uniting the party and bringing us all in, and he really extended a very respectful hand to the other three candidates within, I think it was his first couple sentences of his speech. So not only was his support reflected in the point system that we have in the leadership race, but in the words that he spoke in his acceptance speech about reaching out across the country. So I feel that conservatives and Canadians can feel very confident that Erin O'Toole will be a uniter and a consensus builder as a leader in our country.
Raquel, how soon do you think Canadians are going to go to the polls? Do you think it's a matter of weeks or months?
It's a really great question, Kathy. I think it really depends what's in that throne speech on the 23rd. I know people in my riding are very concerned for the future of this country, whether it's a massive deficit or a second wave of the pandemic or the massive economic shutdown that has impacted so many businesses and their employees that live in my riding. People are very unsettled about the future, particularly young people. So I think we need to see something in the throne speech that gives us some confidence. I don't have high hopes that we will. I think Trudeau has not given the country very much. I don't have high expectations, let's say that. And I would like to see an economic recovery plan on the 23rd. So it really depends what's there and who they'll barter with to shore up their government. As I'm hearing, it might be the NDP again, who's propped them up time and time again. So I know Conservatives will be looking at that very critically. And quite frankly, Kathy, I think I'm ready to go to an election to defeat Justin Trudeau anytime.
What about Andrew Scheer? What is his legacy going to be, do you think, when it comes to this party?
Well, I think he came into the party at a very uncertain time for the Conservatives. We just had the defeat in 2015, and he experienced some difficult things. Maxime Bernier broke off, started his own party. But at the end of the day, he delivered the most votes for the Conservative Party, actually, of any party in any election in Canadian history in the 2019 fall election. So a lot of wins. He kept our party relatively united, I would say, and he certainly reached out to new members of Parliament. He invited me into his shadow cabinet. I was very fortunate to have that opportunity. And I'm frankly, Kathy, really looking forward to working alongside Andrew Scheer in his new capacity. So I'm very hopeful for the future and for Andrew Scheer's future career as a member of Parliament.
So let me ask you finally, Raquel, how are you going to balance the Liberal spending to try and get this country in a position of recovery from COVID-19 compared to, the fiscal discipline that the Conservatives have always showed?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question, something we're going to be wrestling with for many months, if not years to come. Of course, Kathy, we're seeing the most massive deficits, I believe, since the Second World War, if not more. But I think Canadians are very concerned about the deficits as well. And part of the problem was that we were not financially stable going into this pandemic. As you well know, Trudeau spent over $100 billion before we even got into the pandemic of deficits. So I think we're going to need to come up with a balance. And again, Conservatives believe in being fiscally responsible in the good times so that we can bail out as needed in the bad times. This is the bad times. Unfortunately, Trudeau did not adequately prepare this country for the bad times, and that's why it's going to be so difficult moving forward. But I'm confident that Erin O'Toole will deliver a decisive platform, an inspiring platform that people can really bite into and look to our party as a real option to govern. And I'm just really looking forward to that.
Raquel, what's life been like for you the last 5-6 months?
Oh, it's been, there's been good days and a lot of challenging days, though, Kathy, I'll be honest, especially in the onset of the pandemic. I had so many business owners and desperate moms and dads just calling my office. It was ringing off the hook. I was helping them walk through all the new ever-changing federal programs. It was incredibly challenging to hear people's lives literally falling apart, their life support falling apart, laying off dozens of employees. But I have to say, I think most members of Parliament go in to make a difference, and I advocated very strongly for serious, significant changes of many federal programs that actually came to fruition. So that was the most rewarding thing I've ever experienced in my life, to be able to make substantial change that made a difference for my constituents. So good days, bad days. I hope there's more good days to come than bad days. I'm hopeful for the future, but really members of Parliament got to get to work and hold the Liberal government to account and ensure they're delivering the best for Canadians, and that's what we plan to do.
Well, let's hope for many good days ahead. I appreciate you taking the time, Raquel. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kathy, for having me. Have a great day.
You too, Raquel Dancho, MP for Culture.